Blessings, folks. Welcome back to another episode of the Hitstreak. I'm your man, Nick Hyder. And folks, I got an extra special treat joining me in the Hit Lab today, folks. He is no stranger to your TV screens, all right? Folks, he is a 3-time American Ninja Warrior. He's an entrepreneur, and he's done all this, and he's only 19 years old as he sits today. Folks, you know him as the boss, Elijah Browning. Elijah, how we doing today, baby?
Doing amazing, Nick. Thank you so much for having me out. Look at this studio. So professional. It looks awesome, man.
Well, I appreciate it, baby. I appreciate it. You ready to get nasty with me today?
Let's do it, man.
Man, I'm ready to rock and roll. All right, dude. So first of all, you're 19 years old. I was like 35 the first time anybody ever referred to me as the boss. You know what I'm saying? And besides Bruce Springsteen, you're the only other boss I've ever met. All right. Actually, I haven't met Bruce, but I want to meet Bruce. But he's the only one I've ever heard of. So how did you get the nickname the boss, dude?
Yeah, man. I always like to tell people the boss is a mindset, right? You're going into all these different competitions and everything, and you got to know that you're the best walking in. You've prepared, you've trained. And so my whole life, I've just always felt like I was the boss. Every room I walk into, I love to learn. But at the end of the day, I know I'm the best. So that's where it started, man. It was just kind of a mindset, and going into these ninja competitions, I was just like, I'm the boss. Let's go get it, you know? And so every win, you gain some confidence and you learn from some failures, and that's just what it is, and just ride with it now. Dude,
like, so I have a 14-year-old son.
Yeah.
All right. And he is a very competitive baseball player. All right. And we talk about that all the time with his teammates. I coach his team about how, like, you know, confidence is a skill.
Yeah.
All right. But confidence is the memory of past success. You know what I mean? But you got to sharpen that. It's a tool. You got to sharpen it. But dude, 19 years of age, I couldn't have said it any better. Like Mike Trout, Derek Jeter, Michael Jordan, they all say the same thing. You have to believe that you're the best person on that field at any point in time,
right?
Or else you've already lost.
Of course, right?
Who taught you that?
You know, I'm not sure. I think, you know, my whole life, I've had to work really hard for things. When I was 8 years old, I fell in love with Ninja Warrior. I watched it for the first time on television, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. Why I was drawn to it originally, though, was they were advertising it as the world's hardest obstacle course. The show was in its infancy. It was like season 5 at the time, and we're airing season 16 this year.
Wow.
And so they were like, world's hardest obstacle course, $1 million cash prize, no one's ever won. And I was like, that sounds cool. I want to be the first to win. And so it's so funny. That's what like drew me to it, is no one had ever won. And so I started watching the show, falling in love with it. And I was like, I need to start training for this. I need to start doing it. And I started trying to climb trees. But what was crazy and people don't realize is I couldn't do monkey bars. I couldn't do a pull-up. I wasn't a very athletic kid. I grew up playing sports, just basketball, football, soccer, all the different, baseball even. And I was never really that good, and I never felt like I was truly a part of the team because I couldn't really contribute. You know, I tried my hardest, but Ninja Warrior really hit home for me. And so I think, you know, competing my whole life, I started competing when I was 10. I'd worked hard for 2 years, and it took me 6 months to get my first win. And I remember that day I won $150 too, which was crazy and blew my mind. I was like, whoa. And so I think, you know, once you start accruing those wins and you start going back to like, all right, well, how did I do that performance, right? You start breaking it down. You're like, yeah, my course runs were good. Was it my run order? Because that's randomized, different things. And you start breaking it down. And so, you know, eventually you gain enough wins and you gain enough losses even too, because you learn from your losses.
That's right.
Yeah, I was about to say you learn way more from losing than you do winning. That's for sure. There's this great quote. You'll probably know who said it, but it was like when you win, you party, and when you fail, you ponder, and all greatness comes out of pondering.
That's right.
And so, you know, I think I've had some wins, but I've had a ton of losses. And so all of those, and you train every single day for something, and you go out there and you're like, you know, I've put my whole life into this. I better think I'm the best, you know, because I'm not putting all this effort in just to go out there and lose. So, but I think it took a couple seasons of Ninja Warrior and a bunch of wins on there to get me to that point where I walked out there and I was like, because you can say it, but you truly do have to believe it for you to get the results.
That's
you know,
right.
It's that confidence. So,
you know,
a lot of experience.
I learned something. So I'm 43, bro. I know I look like 100, right? But I'm only 43. So we were, you know, here in this town, how are you doing is the most common greeting, right? Like that's like the thing. How you doing, man? It's like saying hello.
So true.
And for, you know, probably the first 42 years of my life, I said, I'm good.
Yeah.
Is it really? That's it. God put me here to be good. And that's all, right? And I figured out, and I can't remember who I heard it from, But most powerful 2 words in the English language are I am. And whatever you say that follows that, when you like, that's the truth. So like for me, anytime anybody ever says, how you doing? It's every time it's I am unstoppable.
Yeah.
And for 2 reasons. One, everybody remembers that, right? And I want to stand out.
Yeah,
okay.
I love that.
But the second thing is I've said it so many times, I actually believe it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So every time somebody greets me, I'm sharpening that mindset.
Yeah. That's powerful, man. I'm going to use that now. That's
Come on,
because I'm
with
the
it.
same way. I'm 19, but I'm like, oh, I'm good. You know, that's a good word right there.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Well, you know, your subconscious is programmed by who? By you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And there's a voice in your head, right?
Yeah,
but
for
what is
sure.
what is that voice saying? You got to control that voice in your head. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. One of my biggest mentors in life, he's one of my best friend's dads. He told me that exact thing. He's like, half the battle is literally just telling that guy up there to shut up and keep going. So, yeah, I've had some amazing people in my life.
No doubt, man. No doubt. All right, dude. Well, we got to get into some stuff because, like, there's some really cool, fun facts and even myths about Hollywood, about these shows, and so on and so forth. Right. So, first of all, I got a question about when you started training. Where in the heck in this town do you train for the American Ninja Warrior course? Because, like, I'm like, that sounds like a fun field trip for me and my boy. You know what I'm saying?
For sure, for sure. Well, now you can come down to. I have a farm down in Columbia, Tennessee, and we have a course out there, and we're going to be running summer camps. We'll tell you about that later. But early on in my journey, I was 8 years old. I couldn't do a monkey bar. I couldn't do pull-ups. There's no ninja gym in Tennessee. None, right?
That's
so,
right.
all right, what's the next best thing? You start going to parks. You start playing around. I could finally get monkey bars, and then I started taking it really seriously, and I was very fortunate. And God knows, right, when all these things happen. My grandpa was a builder for 40 years.
Okay.
And so he was like, well, let's just start building some obstacles. Anything you see you want to try. So we started out with the spider wall. You jump off the tramp and stick it. And we started building that, and then started building salmon ladder and different more iconic obstacles. And then we had a pretty solid course, honestly, that I was running down there for a couple years. And so that was that. And then there was a gymnastics gym, and this ninja warrior named Travis Rosen, who was one of my heroes because he lived in Franklin, Tennessee.
Okay.
When I was 10 years old. He started a ninja program at a gymnastics gym. And so they had very like rudimentary obstacles, but it was just cool to like learn from him. And he had been on the show, and he was very gracious to always answer my questions. Cause again, I was like a sponge. I just learned everything I could about ninja warrior competing, everything at 10 years old.
Wow.
And so one thing leads to another, but we still don't have like, there's a couple ninja gyms around, but there's none in like Franklin, you know, or Thompsons Station area. There's one like in Murfreesboro and different things, but
which one? How would you rate the ninja gym? You know, because like, what if people are listening? Like, what in the heck is a ninja gym? You know what I mean? So let's paint a picture for them, and let's make sure that it's painted a good picture. What's the best ones? What are they looking for?
For sure, you're looking for everything to be changeable, because ninja is a sport that's always changing. You're coming up with the craziest ideas ever. Never work, and then you're putting it together and making it happen 30 minutes later, right? So it's gyms that have athletes. I think people are more important than things. Have athletes that understand where the sport is going. And so the best ninja gyms, in my opinion, are one in Colorado called Ninja Intensity and the one in Florida called Jungle Gym. And they're both changing all the time. Like I see different things at those gyms every single week.
Wow.
I don't know how they do it, but they're just constantly changing stuff, constantly switching stuff up. But essentially, right, it's a bunch of trussing that you would see on like stages.
Okay.
And then they have all these clamps and bars, and then you build a lot of the obstacles out of wood and plywood and different things. And yeah, so gyms that'll switch it up, man.
So
most important.
As a former professional athlete myself, I'm 43, and I'm thinking, could I do that?
Yeah.
What's the oldest guy you've ever seen?
Could.
What's the oldest person you've ever seen doing it?
Well, Travis at the time, he was in his 40s.
Really?
Yeah, he was in his 40s, so you could totally do it. My uncle tried the warped wall. He broke his ankle. But, so, I mean, you know, but you look like you're in good shape. I think you could go for it, man.
Well, you know, maybe. I think it would be a joint, a shoulder, an elbow that just ain't bent a certain way that would go first.
Sure. We'll warm it up. We'll get you out there.
Definitely have to warm it up. But dude, what's the most what's a cool fun fact about the show, and like how is any of it staged? Like all of it's real?
Yeah, that's a great question. The fun fact I always like to tell people is that it films overnight. People have no idea, no concept, right? But they can't film it during the day because they splice these episodes together, and maybe the first runner of the night was actually in the middle of the day or in the middle of the night. And so you got sun, you got lighting issues, and so it films in the middle of the night. And so for training purposes, you have to change your whole sleep schedule and everything. And people don't understand that. That's a whole nother obstacle just to get out there, right? Yeah. That's a whole nother ordeal. And that's a fun fact I like to tell people. So a lot of times I'll run at midnight, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and
Dang.
You're on set from like 5 p.m. You're doing interviews, you're doing B-roll, you're doing all these different things. And so you're doing a lot more than just focusing on the course. There's a lot of other aspects that you have to constantly kind of take in and do. So that's a fun fact. And then as far as the actual competition aspect, like it is completely 100% what you see is what you get. It's not staged. Another thing I like to tell people is we don't get to touch any of the obstacles beforehand, literally nothing. We wheel up on set at 5. They keep us in this like tent. We're there for a few hours doing different things, interviews and stuff. And then at 8 p.m. around then, because the sun's starting to go down, they'll demonstrate how all the obstacles work. Because when we first see them, we'll look at it and we're like, what in the world even is that? You have no clue. You're like, is my foot going to be there or what's going on? And so they go through and they tell you all the rules, what you can and can't do. And then they're like, all right, 10 minutes, we're going to start running. So hopefully you're not the first runner because you're the guinea pig, you're going through everything. And so, yeah, but everything you see athletically is 100% true. They'll feed you some lines sometimes. They'll be like, I'm the boss and buzzers are my business. Like I didn't come up with that, right? But they have it delivered to camera, but that's it.
I think we're at the point, and especially with social media the way it is, I don't think anybody says anything for the first time anymore. I think it's already all been said at some point in time. So like anytime I say something, somebody's like, that's good, can I use it? I'm like, I didn't make it up. What I mean? I'm sure I heard it from somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much knowledge out there now, there's so many different things.
100%. So, all right. So first of all, where do you film? And then when you're on set, how long you got to be there for, when you're competing that show?
For sure, yeah. So right now we film qualifying and semifinals in Los Angeles in the back lot, right across the street from where they film Back to the Future, which is so cool in my opinion. Yeah.
Dude, that's like my movies.
Oh, I know. So you're just walking around and there's like sound stages where they film Jaws and The Voice and like all these different things, and it's all on that lot. And so it feels, you kind of get in character, right? You're like, okay, I'm here to compete, I'm here to perform, I'm here to entertain and do all these different things, which is super fun. So qualifying and semifinals are in LA, and then the 4 stages in Vegas, which is the finale. That's like the finals. Like you're trying to get to Vegas. That's the whole goal, and that's all set up in the middle of the desert in Vegas. So yeah. And then when we're out there, last season we actually filmed 2 seasons in one. So previously it's like every single year we film a season, but last year we filmed 2 seasons at one time. And so I was out in LA for 2 weeks. Filming qualifying and semis for both. Wow. And I was out in Vegas for a long time too.
So that's so how old were you when you did it the first time?
Yeah. So crazy enough too, this is another part of the story that's just wild. When I started watching Ninja Warrior, the age limit to be on was 21 for casting reasons and different things. And if you win the $1 million prize, all these different. So I grew up and I was training for Ninja Warrior and I gave everything I had to it. That was like my goal and my dream. And everyone was always like, you're going to have to wait till you're 21. You got to wait 11 years. You got to wait 9 years. Like go do something else in the meantime. And then maybe you can, go do Ninja Warrior later. And I was like, nah, this is what I want to do. So I was 15 years old and I was sitting in my dining room and I'd done American Ninja Warrior Jr. So a little spinoff. There was a TV show called American Ninja Warrior Jr. At 13 years old, I got cast in that, which was really, really cool. It was very different. It was really low scale, low end, way lower budget, but it was really cool to be a part of that. And I made it to the Sweet 16 and I lost to a girl. And going back to my story, that was a moment where you had to ponder, right? I was like thinking I was going to win the whole show, win the 15 grand prize, and lost to a girl in the Sweet 16, which was brutal. But anyway, so I was 15 and I'm sitting in my dining room and I get a call and it was an 818 number. And I had known for years, I was like, well, that's California. And so I was like, I'm going to answer this. And I answer it and I'm like, hey, this is Elijah. And Matt Eisman, who's the announcer for American Ninja Warrior, was like, hey, boss, how you doing? And I was like, oh my goodness. Like, he's just calling me. What's going on?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm good. And he's like, how would you like to compete on the real American Ninja Warrior? I was just like,
now, how old were you again when you
15.
did? 15, okay.
15 years old. So 2 years after junior, and the age limit was 21 years old. And I was like, what do you mean? Because I was so confused. And I'm just like shaking now. I'm like, oh my goodness, what did he just ask me? And he's like, well, we're calling 10 teen boys and 10 teen girls, and y'all are going to compete against the adults on the real American Ninja Warrior with a chance to win $1 million. And you've been selected. And I was like, all right, I'm in. Let's do it. And I hung up the phone and I practically like passed out. I was just like so nervous and so excited at the same time.
Baby.
I didn't know what to think. I didn't sleep that whole night. I skipped school the next day. I was like, forget this, like I've got to process this. But that was in February of 2020. So a month later, COVID comes through and wipes out the entire US. And so then I get another call and it's from a casting agent this time. And they're like, hey, we're uncalling all the teens because of casting reasons. And it was crazy. Like some of the teens were actually out in LA about to film because, and then like they shut it down while they were on set, which is insane. And so I got a call and they basically uncasted all of us. They did a small abbreviated season where everyone was like social distance. It was supposed to be 600 people and there was only 150. And it was kind of, I mean, it was cool, but I wasn't a part of it. Obviously I just had to watch it on TV. And they basically told me, they're like, hey, no promises, right? This was kind of a one-off thing and we were going to do it this year, but you know, it's probably not going to happen. And so then I was devastated and I was heartbroken, and it was in COVID. But the other good thing, right, is like you're heartbroken and devastated, but it's in COVID. So what else are you going to do, right? You might as well train and put yourself to good use. And so I was like, well, if they call me next year, I'm going to be ready, more ready, because I'm going to be mentally prepared a year and I'm going to be way stronger, right? A year to put on muscle, a year to prepare mentally. I watched every single season, was studying film and doing all that different stuff, and trained every single day. And I added onto my course at my house and just started building and coming up with crazier things. And sure enough, in February of 2021, I got a call. They're like, you're going to be on American Ninja Warrior season 13. And this time, instead of being super nervous, I was like, all right, let's go. You know, I felt good and I felt ready. And so, yeah, I don't even remember what the question was, but I just started talking.
I want to thank all of our loyal fans that spread across all 50 states and 14 different countries. It's absolutely amazing. Folks, help us keep spreading the word, right? Share your favorite episodes with friends and make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the Hitstreak on all digital platforms. Thanks again, and we look forward to more. So you were how old on season 13? That was your the first time, right?
Yeah, 16 years old. Yep.
16 years old. That's incredible, dude. Incredible. All right, so quick family question for you, because like as a when my son was 11, he auditioned and got cast as a lead in a Broadway show, The School of Rock. You know,
that's awesome.
Which is kind of neat. But we couldn't go because it was during COVID, and we were gonna have to go out west. They could do everything out west in Broadway there because it was outside. You know, so we couldn't go because our daughter was going to be born 2 months after when we would have had to move for a while. So like I'm curious as to like the flexibility your family had to flex. To go out there. So how long were you gone that first season? Like, cause like, you know, mom and dad, like how did you guys stay afloat, like work and all that kind of stuff? How'd y'all manage all that kind of stuff?
For sure. Well, first off, full credit to my parents, because I wouldn't be able to do anything that I do, business, sports, anything without them, you know, and their support. And they were always like, my whole life, just go for it, you know, whether it be anything. So even if it's a TV show that no one's ever won, you know, just go for it. And so full credit to them. But yeah, that first time it was kind of nice. They filmed it a little differently. Qualifying was in Tacoma, Washington. Semifinals was in Los Angeles, and then Vegas was the finals again. So we kind of bounced around. But the big thing is you're training constantly. And so I was only in Tacoma 4 days because we got there, interviews, B-roll, and then competition day. And then you fly home, but then you're back in LA a week later. And so you have to like figure out, because like I'm trying to get to Jungle Gym or Ninja Intensity, these places that I'm friends with the people that run these gyms, and they put together incredible courses and they train for the show hardcore. They all flip their sleep schedules tonight and they're all going for it and they're all trying to win. And so I want to be surrounded by that because I have no one to train with here, right? It's all myself. It's all me. So that's the tricky part, I think. And so honestly, my mom sitting here right here, she did an incredible job. She's like, hey, we're going to go here at this time and figure all of that out. And so, and then my dad staying home and working and being able to pay the bills and everything is incredible, you know?
That's right.
So yeah, it was insane though. When I was 16 years old, I trained for this and I was so ready for the opportunity, but at the same time, the nerves are through the roof, you know? Like I always laugh when people ask, do you get nervous? Cause like, absolutely, you know, you pour your whole life into something and it comes down to a 2-minute course run, you know? And if your foot's in the wrong place by an inch or your hand misses or something like that, your whole season's over and you have to wait a whole nother year. And so we're out, they bring me out to the course and everyone's run. And this qualifying course is supposed to be the easiest, but only 3 people had cleared by the time I had run, or the time I was up. And I just looked at my mom and I was like, I can't do this. Like, I'm not going to be able to go out there. I've been nervous. I was so nervous the night before, so nervous the competition day. I was like, I can't go out there. I'm just going to like run away or something. I don't know what I was thinking, but, and she's like, oh, nah. And so she grabbed two incredible people, Nate Burkhalter and Maggie Thorne, and they just prayed over me right there. And it was an incredible thing. I got incredible peace from the Lord there, and I was still nervous, right? But I felt this peace, like, no, like God has me here for a reason. So I just need to go out there and do my best, you know? And I ended up being one of 5 clears on that qualifying course as a rookie. I got the second fastest time, which was really cool. And it just set up a great season. At 16 years old, I got 9th place out of 400 athletes.
Holy
in the finals,
cow. So walk me through all your finishes. So it's at 16, that was in, what year was that? That was your first year?
2021. Yep.
2021?
Yeah, I got 9th place out of 400. I made it all the way to the end of stage 2. So it's stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4 is the rope climb. So three courses and then 1 rope climb essentially. And so I made it to the very end of stage 2. But for reference, 30 people made it to stage 2 and only 4 cleared. So I made it to the very end.
Yeah.
So I was right there. And if I would have caught this last grab, I would have been 1 of 5, which, you know, it's still kind of, I mean, it was really cool because I was like, man, I got 9th, top 10 and whatever, but the inner athlete in me, I was like, really? Like, what if you did 1 more grip workout or something, you know, maybe if I wouldn't have eaten, so I don't know. So you break it down, right? You always do. And it is what it is. Then my second year, I had all these high expectations and I knew how to train for the show and I knew how to prepare. And so I was ready to go for it.
Is that 2022?
2022, yeah. And I'm 17 years old. And so qualifying went really well. I cleared the course, and then they have this thing called the mega wall. And if you get up the mega wall, you get 10 grand, and it's 18 feet instead of the normal 14-foot one. And so I touched the top of it, which was devastating because literally that's the lip, and my fingers were like right there on it. And I didn't get it, but I was like, dang it. And so in semifinals, then it's a longer course. Instead of 6 obstacles, it's 10. And it's really, really hard. It's super difficult. And the year before, I'd actually fallen on that course, but I just made it far enough to where I still moved on. And so what's cool about this course, too, is you get to earn this thing called a safety pass. And a safety pass is awesome because if you fall on stage 1 or 2 in Vegas, you get to rerun. And so obviously me thinking, well, I fell on stage 2. If I get a safety pass, you know, like that's the difference between making it to stage 3 and not.
Yeah.
And so in semifinals, I was like, well, I've gotten a lot better. Let's see if we can get the top time and race for a safety pass. That was really the goal. And I ended up making an early mistake on obstacle 5 and I fell and I was out of the entire competition. Like my whole season's over.
So in season, it's 17 and 2022. How'd you finish in that one?
Yeah. So it would have been like probably like, I don't even know because 70 people make it to Vegas. I didn't make it to Vegas. So I was probably like in the 70s.
70s. Got
so yeah,
it.
from like top 10 to like 70s, you know. And that was devastating because I had all these high expectations. I really felt like I could win. You put in a whole nother year of training. But again, you ponder. And so you just start thinking, right? You're like, all right, well, what can I do better? What can I do? And I actually went out to Vegas to watch all my friends compete too.
Oh, that's cool.
I was like, yeah, I'm going to soak this in. And obviously they change the course every year too. So I'm going to see what they're feeling, what they're putting up and different things. And so it was good. But it was super hard as well. And so I trained as hard as I possibly could that summer because I had all this motivation. And one of my best friends, Caden Lebsack, got last ninja standing on season 13, which is where you don't win the entire show because you have to clear all the stages and you have to get up the rope in 30 seconds. He cleared all the stages, but he didn't quite get up the rope. So he didn't win the $1 million, but he won 100 grand at 15. It was pretty good.
Heck yeah.
So then in season 14, I didn't make Vegas, but I watched him get last ninja standing again. I was like, oh man. So that's motivating, right? Because I've grown up with him and I've competed against him and all these other different incredible athletes, watched them crush it. So I'm like, man, I got to step up my game because I want to be there. You know, I want to be with them. And so I trained as hard as I possibly could. And then I get a call in January of 2023. And the producer, his name's Trevor. He's awesome. Head casting producer. He's like, hey, we're going to cast you in 2 seasons this year. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he gave me the breakdown. He's like, we're running 2 season 15 and 16 back to back and all these different things. And I was like, well, you know, my first initial reaction was like nervous because I'm like, this is interesting. It's not how we've done it before. This might throw everything off. But then I saw it as an opportunity because I've been training as hard as I possibly could for the past year. And I was like, well, here's my opportunity to give it everything I've got for 2 seasons now, not just 1. And so then I got excited. And so then season 15, which aired last summer, I cleared qualifying. I got to race for the safety pass in semifinals, which was really cool. I lost to my good friend RJ, but he's a stud. He was flying through the course. Then I fell on stage 1 which was crazy. Another roller coaster of emotions because we're there every night filming. And so I fell on stage 1 and I thought I was out. But the way it worked this year is stage 2 was a bracket format. So you raced people. And no matter what, they had to have 24 people on stage 2.
Okay.
So even if 24 people didn't clear stage 1, they still had to bring people in. So it was the whole farthest, the fastest rule. And so I thought I was out. I'm like, I won't make it. But I did fall on the last obstacle of stage 1. And so it comes down to the last runner, and I'm in 24th place. And the last runner, his name's Kai. And Kai is one of the fastest ninjas. Stage 1's all about speed. It's all about agility. It's a really cool course. And so we're all thinking, well, Kai's going to like fly through this course, and I'm going to miss it by 1 spot. Like, unbelievable. And Kai runs, and he falls on like the 4th obstacle. Total fluke. Like, he could do that in his sleep, you know? So I was like, oh, shoot, well, I'm going to run. And it just so happens that the 1 seed is Caden. And so I have to go up against Caden. I'm like, shoot. And he's the 2-time last ninja standing not only, but he has never fallen on the show. So he's only ever timed out on the rope, but he's cleared every other course he's done. And so I'm thinking, I'm like, well, I'm going up against someone that's never lost, never fallen. Like, what am I going to do? You know? And so that whole night I found out I was going to run stage 2 at midnight, and I didn't run stage 2 till 5:30 a.m. and I had gotten on set at 5 p.m. So like 12 hours later. So it's a roller coaster, right? Because he's my best friend. He's one of the best ninjas in the world, and all these different emotions are going. And so same thing like in season 13 when I was 16 years old. I felt like I was going to throw up, like right before I was going to run. I'm like, dude, I might need to just throw up and call it good. You know, like I don't know what I'm going to do. But as soon as I stepped up on the starting line, I was like, well, we didn't even think we were going to get here. And now we're here. We have an opportunity. So let's just see what I can do. Let's just run as fast as I can and make something happen, you know? And so I ended up clearing stage 2, and I beat Caden, which was cool. And he actually fell. We were neck and neck, but he fell. And then I cleared stage 2, which was awesome. And I had one of the fastest times on stage 2 and made it all the way to the last obstacle of stage 3 and got top 10 again. So it was really cool.
So you and that was in 2023, right? So we got you finished 9th in 2021 in the 70s in 2022, right? So now we're in 2023,
yeah,
right?
then 9th again. Funny enough, yeah. I say top 10 because it sounds weird that I got 9th 2 years in a row, but it was 9th, yeah.
So you got 9th in 2023, is that correct?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, and then so those are your 3 appearances, right?
Yep.
Now you're 19. It's 2024.
Yep.
And you got a fun little announcement coming up,
do,
right? So when this episode comes out, it's already known, right? So let's tell them what they're already watching.
Yeah, absolutely. June 3rd is going to be the premiere of American Ninja Warrior Season 16, and I'm on that premiere episode, which is super exciting. Let's go, yeah. And so I haven't been on the premiere episode since my rookie year, which is kind of fun.
All right.
There we go.
Any, do we go on ahead and throw out a forecast of where you're going to finish this time? You know what I'm saying?
It's going to be a fun season to watch, that's for sure. Not just for me, but for everyone. It's going to be really cool. So definitely watch.
Is there any anything that you know that makes it different this time? You know, they're always throwing new things at you guys, whether it's bracket play or whatever it may be. Any structure changes this time that you know about?
No, it's pretty much the same as 15, which is good. Obviously, the courses will be different, and they're always more challenging every single time, but the bracket and everything, the whole format's the same. And I actually really like it because semifinals and stage 2 are both races now, and I just think I thrive under that pressure, and I like going for it. So, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. So, you said nervous. You know, we figured out, nerves are basically just like it's misunderstood excitement. You know what I mean? Like you just that's all that it is, right? And you figured out how to channel that and use it because being nervous is a tool, baby.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. I found that out very early on, right? I'd be super nervous before our competition, and then as soon as like the timer started, all of it went away, and it was like you're in the zone.
That's right.
And so then I figured out like, oh wait, these just like help get me in the zone to compete and get ready, you know. And so the adrenaline and everything, it works its magic, right? So you look at some of this stuff too, it's like 35 feet in the air over water. Mm-hmm. And you got 10 million people watching it, you know that. You got your live audience, you got all your family and friends, and you've got all these like head ups at NBC watching you too. They're all on the sidelines behind all the cameras, like making notes and everything. And so it's all super intimidating, but when you get out there, all that nerves and everything goes to work for you, you know?
That's right.
And so you don't think about anything. It's just like getting through the course. And so I figured that out pretty early on. And so if you can just ride the roller coaster and get to the point where you're actually on the course, it's a good moment for sure.
So what are any crazy injuries that you have sustained, or what's the craziest one that you've seen happen to somebody else in person?
Oh yeah. Personally, I've been very fortunate. I fractured my foot when I was 11 years old. I fell off of something super high in between 2 mats, just like straight onto the concrete. fracture my foot, and it made me miss out on cross country season. But other than that, we were pretty good, and we recovered in like a month, which was awesome. And and then I dealt with bicep tendonitis in season 14, 2022, because I was training so hard and I was just overtraining.
It comes from a lot of grip and, you know what
it's
I mean?
all forearms, and so everything's just pulling. And then your brachioradialis, which is right here, is one of the weakest muscles in your entire arm.
Yeah.
And so that's just like all force because you're constantly catching and absorbing. And so everything in your forearm super tight. You're pulling, so all your bicep is super tight, and it just ends up like pulling, concentrating right there. And so I had to deal with that. Which was way more painful. I mean, that was like months and months and months of just like, because you're still training, obviously. Like I had to, because the season's filming, but it was a lot of rehab and training and beating up the body and just fighting through, you know.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. What's the hardest obstacle you've ever faced on that show?
Yeah, besides the mental aspect, right? Because you're laying in bed the night before and you're thinking all the ways it can go wrong. And you have to silence that, win the battle in your mind, you know. The hardest physical obstacle I've ever done on the show, that's a good question. I think it all comes down to placement, where the obstacles are on the show. And so falling shelves, which is what I fell on stage 2 my rookie year, that was really hard because it was at the very end of stage 2 and you're already exhausted.
Yeah.
And so, but then I cleared it in season 15. So
that's
you
right.
Just keep pushing. But I'd say that was probably the hardest individual obstacle I've done. And then the hardest one I've fallen on was the one I fell on in season 14 semifinals. It's called hopscotch. There's these ledges. They're about like 1.5 inches thick. And it started, and you kind of just like do this whole dance with your hands, and you're like swinging through. And I went to the middle one, and I just pushed it away from me, and I fell. And so I'd say that's pretty hard, you know. I fell on it, so I don't know.
Yeah, man. So when you fall down in that water, what's that water like? Is it cold? Like, you know what I mean? Man. How deep is that water right there? So cold.
Yeah, it depends on the course. Sometimes like 4 feet deep, like qualifying and semifinals. Everything's not as high. It's still like 15 feet in there, which is funny because you can't dive into a pool with 4 feet of water. But whatever, you can fall into it.
That's right.
But then in Vegas, everything's like 15 feet deep, the pools, and you're like 35 feet in there. So it's crazy. The water's freezing. And it's weird because you're in the zone, you're fighting. And then I think the water is like that out of the zone moment. You just like kind of wake up. You're like, oh, what just happened? You know, because you're in the zone. And a lot of times I can remember what I've done on the course, but sometimes you can't because you're just that much into the zone. And so the water's
black out, right?
Yeah, exactly. You're just in fight or flight mode the whole time, and you're just like relying on your training. And so the water's a big wake up moment. It's freezing cold. And then you fall in the water and they're shoving microphones in your face. They're like, what happened? What went wrong? And you're like, you don't even know what happened, you know, because you're just, sometimes you do, but not usually because it happens so quick. It's the difference between inches, you know, so.
That's right. The Hitstreak is powered by our partners at HitLab Creative Studios. Whether it's launching your brand new podcast, rebranding your current podcast, or taking advantage of any of their other content packages specifically for your social media needs, the HitLab is a one-stop shop for you. Visit hitlabstudio.com for more. I'm going to ask a question that I want you to answer on behalf of your parents here, all right?
Okay.
So I know, you know, as a parent, when you're out there watching your kids compete, it's like, you know, one of the hardest things to do is just let them go out and do it and fail. It's hard. Yeah. It's hard because you want to help them so bad and you care so much about it. You know what I'm saying? So like, how cool have your parents been for you to let you like just to give you that space, man? You know, as a parent, I've learned it's like I don't want my kid not to fall. I just want to make sure my job is make sure he gets up. My job is make sure he gets up and keeps moving forward, right? And I remember the first time when he was trying to ride his bike and took the training wheels off and he takes off through the cul-de-sac, dude, and he was on it for maybe 8 seconds and he just wiped out. It was awful. Road rash everywhere. And he got up and he's upset, you know, the tears are coming down. There's the blood is so much that it's like just dripping, like, you know what I mean? And so we ran over there and my first instinct was like, I got him up and I was like, get back on the bike, right? You know, and obviously there's blood dripping all down his legs. And my wife was like, you know, let's clean him up. I went, no, hold on, let's just get him back on the bike. So we got him back on that bike. And sure enough, he started going and he's got it this time. And now, even though there's blood dripping down and everything else, now he's smiling. Right. And he's in that he's so proud of what he's doing now. And then it's like, all right, dude, now you can stop. Mm-hmm. Now let's clean you up. And then, you know, and he's always wanted to enjoy that bicycle from then on out, right? You know, so like obviously your parents have had to done a great job of this for you to be sitting here talking about it today.
Sure. Yeah, that's a great story. I think everyone every parent should be like that. Me personally, not to get into it, but I think that's the best way. I think anytime you fall, you have to get back up, and you have to do it right then too. I think that's super important because it's easy to, your brain is such a powerful thing, right? I mean, we could talk about that all day long, but I think your brain is really good at figuring out what feels good and what doesn't. And so when you feel something that doesn't feel so good, you don't want to go back to that spot.
That's right.
And so, but if you go like right when it hurts and you just do it again, it definitely lessens it, in my opinion. You're more likely to do it. But I think my parents are really good at always, seeing everything as a learning experience. I love that story with Michael Jordan and his mom whenever he didn't make the high school basketball team.
That's
his
right.
mom's like, well, you just need to work harder. Because I feel like that's my mom, right? Like when I fell on A&W Junior, there's obviously sympathy and love, or I didn't fall, I just lost. I just got there slower. There's all this love and sympathy, and like I was crying, bawling my eyes out at 13 years old. But when we got home, it was like, well, let's build the obstacles that you struggled on. Let's figure out like what it was, the
Right.
different things. And you definitely took for granted racing a girl and all these different aspects. And so they've always been really good at problem solving with me. And I think that's all entrepreneurship is too, right? We're all problem solvers. That's what it is. And so I've always been able to get back on the bike and just keep riding. But I have a funny story too along those lines. I had this, I was 14 years old and I saved up all summer and I bought one of those one wheels, the ones that like self-drive and everything. So fun. And I was riding it one day before cross country practice and I fell off, and same thing. My knees were gone and my elbows were gone. And so I'm just like a pool of blood, and I rode it back home and I was like, my dad is a little bit more, sympathetic, I would say, than my mom, funny enough. He's like, oh man, let's get you cleaned up. And so we
Go, Mom.
Yeah.
That's my girl.
Got in the shower and like washed all the blood off. So painful, right? You got that road rash. And then I get out of the shower and I'm just like in my towel and she's like standing there. And I'm like, hey, she's like, you're going to cross country practice right now. And I was like, no, I'm not. Like, it's like 5 minutes and like still pouring blood. And she's like, oh, you shouldn't ride that before cross country. Like, what did you think was going to happen?
That's awesome.
So, yeah, then I went and ran cross country that night and everyone was asking about it. And I mean, like literally my knees are gone and I'm still running. So
Dude,
I think, yeah, it's good for you though.
Life hits hard.
Yeah.
And you got to be prepared, man. You know
True.
what I mean? The difference between a winner and a loser, in my opinion, is the anticipation. When I say all the time, winners anticipate and losers react. But because even when something don't go right when you anticipate it, then that cues a response rather than a reaction. And a response is way more thought out. It's way more intellectual, and a response is offensive, and a reaction is defensive. You know what I mean? And life's an offensive sport. You know what I mean?
That's true.
You don't. If you're sitting there in 1 ounce of your being, you're looking at that obstacle, and you're like, I might fall, dude. You already lost.
You have. It's true. That's what happened on hopscotch. I was super nervous for it, and I was like, I don't know if I can do that. I felt like that was kind of a gap in my training because of my tendonitis, and totally fell on it. So after that, I was like, well, you gotta win that battle before you step out there, because any sort of negativity in that regard or any sort of self-doubt, and you're done for. And I think that too. I think life's a game, and you got to play it, to the best of your ability, and you got to go for it. Can't be playing defense all the time.
That is awesome, dude. That's awesome. Folks, we're hanging out with 3-time American Ninja Warrior, about to be 4.
Yeah.
As you're listening today, he is 4-time American Ninja Warrior. Folks, check him out on YouTube at Elijah the Boss, as well as on Instagram. On Instagram, it's Elijah the Boss Ninja, right? So, all right, dude. I love the mindset stuff that we're talking about here, right? So, first of all, where's this all taking you? What are you doing all this for? You're 19 freaking years old.
Yeah.
You've already kicked life's behind. You've accomplished more in 19 years than most people do in 40 or 50 or ever. Because I want to ask that question because I want to also know what it's like to be 19 and you get recognized in a lot of places, I'm sure. You know what I mean? And that comes with a lot of pressure. It's literally life changing, right? So let's talk about the mindset first. Where are you going with all this? What's the goals?
For sure. Well, yeah, getting recognized is really cool. To answer that question first, it's super humbling every time it happens. Kids come up to me all the time in grocery stores, airports, every single time. And I think that's so cool. They come up to me, and I think it takes a lot of courage to walk up to someone that either you watched on TV or you look up to, because I was that kid at one time. And so anytime they come up, it just brings a big smile on my face, and they're like, can I get a picture? I was like, of course. And I just think that's a really cool moment that I get to share. And
no doubt.
And I think it's a lot of pressure from the standpoint that you've got to be the person that they think you are. Because if they think I'm this person on TV and everything, you kind of got to live that way too. You got to be a man of integrity, and you've got to, I put a lot of pressure on myself for that, is to be the person and always have the time. Like even if I'm like about to miss a flight, still take the time to like take the photo, because that could change someone's life, And
Absolutely.
I remember anytime I looked up to someone and they would take a picture, or stark contrast if they were a jerk, it really changes your whole perspective on them, and it literally takes 5 seconds.
No doubt. Well, check this out. I want to tell you something here. So you said humbling. All right. So this my buddy is a buddy of mine that goes by the Real Bradley. A lot of people know him. And as an athlete, you're always told, be humble, be kind, all those things. Do you know what the definition of humble is? This is going to get
Let's
good.
hear it.
All right. The definition of humble: having or showing a modest or low estimate of one's own importance. Right? Humble, it says, humble thyself unto the Lord, not to other men.
Yeah.
Humble thyself unto the Lord, right? So you humble yourself to God, nobody else.
Yeah, I like that. That's interesting. I've never looked up that definition.
Dude, I started looking up all these words we're using all the time and what they mean, and it's crazy, the things that we say that are actually like not even relevant. You know what I mean? So I do it all the time. I'll ask Siri what a word means, and it's like, well, been using that wrong the whole time. And it's funny, when you do that, you get people's attention. And now all of a sudden you have a great conversation, but I don't know. I've earned a lot of respect with people saying, you know what that word means? Something so simple like that.
Yeah. No, that's really good to hear. Brad Lee's cool, by the way, too. I listen to his podcast sometimes.
It's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
it's awesome. I just got done. He's out in Vegas, and I just got done speaking at an event that he put on out there, which was amazing.
That's
he had, cool. Dude. He didn't even tell anybody that I was speaking. He had two other surprise speakers in Albert Preciado and Ryan Pineda.
That's cool.
Oh, dude, it was great. These dudes didn't even know they were coming.
Yeah.
Brian Mark, who's another big time businessman and influencer. He was another surprise guest, and Neil Dingra. I mean, it was unbelievable. He had all these dudes. I was probably like the smallest one out there.
That's amazing.
But yeah, dude, it was fantastic. And these guys he didn't market any of us.
Right.
And these guys he's like, I got another friend that just showed up. These guys are hopping on flights, and they're just like, holy cow, I can't believe these people are here.
Wow.
It was awesome.
That's
man.
For real.
It was awesome. So he's out in Vegas.
Yep.
So I literally just got back. I was out there, just came back on Saturday.
I love that town. But yeah, then to answer your other question, like where I'm going, I want to go bigger than I have before. I think a lot of people say that, where it's like you've done more in 19 years than some people do their whole life, than 40, whatever, they throw those out. But in my mind, I've done nothing. I'm just getting started. It's like everything I've done is just, it's cool, but it's already in the past, right? It's going to be one up by there's going to be younger, cooler Ninja Warrior athletes that surpass what I've done there. And so I just want to keep doing bigger and better things than I've ever done before in business, athletically, physically, mentally too, right? Just being in a better mindset every single day, right? So
absolutely.
I think in everything, I just want to go bigger and keep getting better at it all.
No doubt. So. Well, talk to me about these summer camps. All right. Yeah. So the camps are in your hometown of Thompsons Station, Tennessee, right?
Yeah, we're doing them in Columbia, but it's very close. Yeah, it's in the north side of Columbia, basically South Spring Hill. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's at my farm down there. It's 18 acres. It's beautiful. We got all sorts of sports set up, like football, basketball, volleyball, all sorts of activities. We're gonna have like slip and slides, but then I have a huge Ninja Warrior course down there. And so they're going to be Ninja Warrior summer camps, and it's going to be a great opportunity for kids to go out there every single Tuesday and try it out. And I really just want to grow the ninja community around here, because again, we don't have a ninja gym or anything like that. And so I want kids to have an opportunity to do it, and I can provide that. So that's my goal with it. And I have a bunch of kids that I coach. Like 3 of them got top 10 at one of the finals outside of the show last year. Okay. And so we're building it. It's exciting.
Dude, that's really awesome. Exciting. I bet, I couldn't imagine being a young kid and getting to hear you speak about mindset and all those things. Dude, I mean, literally, you can change a person's life when you can, we all watch TV, right? Well, TV is called paid programming. You're being programmed based on what somebody wanted to pay.
For sure.
But you're helping program these kids subconsciously. What's the ages of these campers when they come out and do that?
Yeah, you can be 4 years old, you can be 16, you can be whatever, any age, you can get out there, man. You can do some Ninja Warrior.
Let's go.
Yeah, man. So any age, there's probably going to be a bunch from like 8 to 12 would be my guess, 6 to 12, something like that that range would be my guess. But
That's awesome. All the creative team out here is thinking, yeah, we want to film Nick on that thing. That'll be some great blooper reels out there.
Sweet, man.
Those talk to me about how long when they come to camp. How long is the camp? What's the structure of it look like, and more importantly, how do they enroll? For
sure. So, right now it's going to be every Tuesday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. down in Columbia. And then right now I'm working on websites and stuff, but you can just reach out to my mom and we can get that info to you.
Perfect. What's mom's contact? She got an email? What we got here?
What do you want? Phone number? Okay. Yeah. Renee Browning. That's
all right.
615-977-8303.
Awesome. So folks, that is to enroll in one of Elijah's ninja camps, right? That's fantastic.
Absolutely.
That's
fantastic. It's going to be a fun time.
No doubt, dude.
The Hitstreak is powered by Team Hider. Team Hider has been serving you for 11 years and has racked up over 20 national and local awards for excellence in all areas. When it comes to finding the right health plan, we need to consider your family's needs and your family's budget. That's what we do to serve you. To look further and to book an appointment, visit teamhider.com.
Well, talk to me a little bit about, so obviously that's a part of your entrepreneurial journey. Mm-hmm. What are some other aspirations you have in the world of business? What do you want to get into?
For sure, yeah. So I've been buying and selling sports cards since I was 14. So
let's
football,
go.
Basketball, that's what I started with. And now I'm branching out baseball, soccer, F1, all these different sports, making it a more year-round thing. And so I want to grow that as big as I can get it because it's so fun. And the fact that that's a business like blows my mind because it's just so cool. It costs nothing to store them. There's so many advantages. So I want to be as big in that as I possibly can. I want to inspire as many kids as possible through summer camps or through coaching or however they want to, if they want to compete, all these different ways, right? And then we also build ninja rigs. Me and my grandpa do, since he was a builder. And so we build these courses in people's yards, or we build out gyms. We build out gymnastics gyms for like ninja programs and stuff. So we do all that. It's called Boss Ninja Builds. And so, yeah, those are my 3 right now that I'm like going head first into, and then we'll probably parlay that into like real estate investing and stuff like that. But yeah, those are my 3 right now. Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. It's, again, my son is 14 and I love showing him young people that are just crushing it because, in your generation, dude, and I get a lot of people have a lot of opinions on this. This is just my opinion, but in your generation, I feel like the gap in the spectrum between the winners and everybody else, I feel like it's larger than ever. You know what I mean? I
said that the other day. That's really funny. Yeah.
So on one hand, I feel like it's easier to win because like I feel like there's the competition. There's so much on the lower end of things, but like at the end of the day, you guys are gonna have to carry a lot of weight.
Right. Well, it's true too. I was literally just telling my mom that the other day. Is all my friends, I feel like who I associate with, we're all going for it in a big way, and so I feel like I kind of have a jaded perspective on what success really is because we're all kind of going for it in a big way, and so the average is kind of up here already. But I forget that maybe my generation sits around and plays too many video games, because that's just not me and my friends. But
yeah, dude, it's I'm as a man of faith, I know that's a big part of your life too. God only made one of us. You're 100% unique, and He put you here for a reason. What is that reason? And I talked to a lot of my pastor friends about this, and I had a conversation with my wife and son about this literally yesterday, which was on a Monday after church, because we're always going through things, and the sermon on Sunday was so powerful. But so many people go to church on Sunday because it's what they do on Sunday, right? And not the reason that they went with in the first place, which was to get fed, to hear God speak to them. And like so, for me, when I go to church on Sunday, it's to refuel the tank because I'm going to burn it all between the end of the night, the next Saturday. I got to go back there and get fed again. And then it's my job to make sure, regardless of who's speaking, what they're saying or whatever, God's speaking to me, and I got to figure out what he's saying to Nick Hyder in that moment, because he's saying saying something different to all of us as we sit there. But we have to be a sponge and be ready to hear those things. So hearing you talk like that is very refreshing. And you're closer to my son's age than you are mine. So I love having, I can't wait to tell my son, and his YouTube's blowing up, by the way. He's kicking my butt on YouTube, ironically. Yeah, he's got almost 11,000 subscribers on
what does he do?
YouTube. So it started out with doing a lot of music, and then he, last year, I'm always trying to teach him good habits. And people are spending 8 to 10 hours a day looking at a phone. And I'm like, dude, so if you're not on it, I think your business loses eventually to somebody that is. So I want him on it, just not all the time. I wanted to learn how to use it as a tool. And at the same time, I also want him to look up to guys like you and not say, I don't want him to watch you for entertainment purposes. I want him to watch you so he can say, I can do that too.
Yeah.
You know, that's because that's the way I used to watch baseball players on TV was, oh man, that's what it takes to get there. Not, oh, those are the greatest guys ever, and I'll never do that. You know, so
absolutely.
But anyways, he's doing blitzball. So he said, Dad, he's a big baseball fan, and he loves blitzball, which is like wiffle ball, right? He's like, Dad, like there's some really cool stuff on blitzball on YouTube, and I'm like, dude, you can do whatever you want. But it's got to be consistent. We got to have a plan.
Sure.
And then you've got to execute. And I'll be danged if he didn't, like, 2 clips that he did got watched like 4 million times.
Oh, that's awesome.
They're still going. I monitor all of his comments and everything that are going on there. And there's about 100 emails a day from his daggum YouTube channel that I have to sift through with all the comments and everything else. So it's awesome. I think it's
amazing.
great. Yeah. And like, so when he turns 18, he's going to have a presence online that he can use and scale. He's going to have money. He's going to have all these things that we've been working on, which is a great foundation to build up on. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, dude, you're having a huge impact on these young people. I think it's fantastic.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, and stories like that are super cool for me to hear too, because it's just everyone's got a different way of going about things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've been on YouTube. And it's a grind, man. And one of my best friends is a YouTuber, and it's really hard stuff. So that's cool to see that he's killing it on there. That's awesome.
He is, and it was there's a lot of great lessons in that, because like all the hate that comes on there, which is like I remember when the first video he had was really blowing up, he was in like watching it like a hawk, and I was like, bro, it's not going anywhere. I was like, dude, you're not even gonna be able to keep up with all these comments soon. So don't worry about it. Don't worry. He's like, what should I say? How should I respond? Well, there's some lessons there, but sometimes you just go on about your life and let fools be fools, because anybody can be a tough guy on the other side of the keyboard. Oh, for
sure. Yeah, exactly. It's addicting though too, because I just had a reel on Instagram, first time it's ever done this, but I had one get 90 million views.
Get the heck out of there, bro. Yeah. 90 million views? Holy cow.
Which I've been posting. Here's the thing too, though. You work so hard, because I've been posting on Instagram since I was 11 years old. And I've been consistent on there probably since I was like 14. Mm-hmm. And for years there, I've posted every single day. And so I've had a couple hit a mill, but then this one like blew up. And so it's addicting when it happens finally, because you're like, oh shoot, like look at this. Like this is crazy. Right. You're gaining followers, 100 followers every time you refresh, and different things. So it's wild how we're all tied into these things now, right? They kind of got us hooked. But I think your perspective on that is 100% the way I look at it as well. And
it comes with a great responsibility to yourself, but also to those other people, And I'm always telling the church pastors all the time, because I think the church is the last to figure this out. They got to do better, and I'm always pushing them all the time.
I agree.
We're creating programs to teach them so they can do all these things, but it's like, dude, imagine if a sermon stood up. We're totally off topic here, but I love talking about this stuff. So imagine if a pastor stood up on stage and he had just released a clip from maybe a 60-second clip from the last week's sermon. And there's 350 people in the congregation. He said, everybody get out your phones. All right. So first of all, the water would probably boil when he said that. Okay. But then when he gets it all out, he's like, everybody go to get this clip and share it. So in the 80s, there was a song that was it was a compilation song called We Are the World. And it was USA for Africa. It was all the biggest artists of that time that came together, and they did a song, and they created a song. What made that song number one is every radio station on planet Earth debuted it at the same time. Everybody pushed play at the same time around the world. Very powerful, right? So I was like, imagine if a congregation, 350 people, all shared the same clip at the same time. What that would do for that clip with all the algorithms and everything, but how many people that would reach. And then you don't stop there. Say, now take that same clip and just forward it to 3 people that need to hear the message of it. I was like, and imagine if you did that all the time.
Right.
What that would do. And that is the power of social media, and so, the problem with the churches is simple. The people that fund the church are on the latter end of that generational gap pre-internet, so they don't get it yet,
right?
And they probably won't. Why do they need to get it?
Sure.
Versus they all say, well, we need more young people, and this is where the young people are, and they ain't figured out how to get there yet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, dude, people like you are a huge. I'm a big believer in give a voice to your voices, and then when I say it comes with great responsibility, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, you get to lead the way here, man.
For sure.
Everybody's watching, baby. Let's go.
I love it. That gets me excited. And every single day I wake up and I'm like, well, thank you God for another day, and let's go get some opportunities, make it happen.
Boom.
So, yeah.
And I catch myself now too. All the blessings are through discipline. You know what I mean? All the blessings that you get are through the problem. So like yesterday, I was getting my butt kicked a little bit. There was some stuff going on, and we're making some huge changes in business, and that comes along with some headaches that you don't always forecast. I'm getting my butt handed to me yesterday, and the only thing I know to do now is after I've calmed myself down and got through all the the blood my blood stopped boiling a little bit. I just look up and I'm like, all right, God, I hear you, man. Where are we going? What is the lesson here? Because I'm ready. Like my mind and heart's open. Where are we going with this? Because obviously I'm going through this. And you don't learn much from success. You learn from all the failures, right? So I failed yesterday in more ways than one.
Sure.
So cool, dude. Give me that lesson. I'm ready. I'm ready to get it. So dude, all this at 19, you got life. You got life by the balls, as my granddaddy would say.
I like that. That's a fun metaphor. Yeah.
But dude, congratulations on everything, man.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? You're just getting started. It's going to be fun to watch you. Any final words as we bring this episode to a close? Any final thoughts, final words, or anything else for everybody?
My mom told me, I forgot to plug one thing. We got the merch, Elijah the Boss Ninja Summer Collection is coming out it'll probably already be out when this airs, but it's going to be really cool. So you're going to want to look out for that. We have a website. It's ElijahTheBossNinja.com. So.
ElijahTheBossNinja.com for all of the merch. Let me make sure, because we got to get that in the show notes.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right, so all this, thebossninja.com.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So, folks, you got to support Elijah, right? Take lots of photos and videos on Instagram and everything else. Tag him in all your stories, and get that merch. Is there any merch that you're like? What can they expect when they go in there? You're wearing an awesome piece right now that I like a lot.
For sure. I'm always trying to innovate and come up with new stuff, and so I can't really spoil it, but it's gonna be different than what we've done before, which I'm really excited about. So.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's gonna be really cool.
That's what I'm talking about.
Sure.
And seriously, like this guy picked a profession where he literally gets to dress however he likes, right? And most comfortable to clothes. That's the way to do it, dude.
It is the way to do it. Yeah. I knew early on I didn't want to wear like jeans or khakis or anything.
Yeah,
like
man.
That, so.
I used to, I couldn't wait until I'd built a business for myself where I can control even what I wore to the office. You know what I'm saying? Because when I did suit and tie for a long time, man. And it was really cool for about a day. and then it's
12
like
hours.
And then it's like, the time adds up, tying the tie, untying it, tying it back because you messed it up. And the dry cleaning bills were through the roof. And if I was going to do it, I was going to do it right. So all my suits were custom made, and you're dry clean them. And then you got to get it's all the time spent ironing and all those things. Like, golly, just traveling. You travel with the suit. You got to have all the extra stuff. Yeah, dude, you're doing it right, man.
Yeah, all my sports card stuff I usually do like in my pajamas, like in my bedroom. And so it's so funny when you get like sales because it's like,
that's right.
Didn't even get out of my bed.
Well, brother, folks, check it out once again for that merch, ElijahTheBossNinja.com. Check it out. Keep up with him on YouTube at Elijah the Boss and on Instagram at Elijah the Boss Ninja. Dude, congratulations on everything. Good luck in the 2024 run. Any final thoughts as we bring this sucker to a close?
Nah, man, I appreciate you having me on. Thank you so much. And to anyone out there, if you have a dream or a goal, go after it because you can make it happen.
Boom. I'm a big believer in that weight's a 4-letter word, and we don't use those around here, Yeah. So don't wait to do anything.
I like that.
All right, and then check this out. A couple other sound bites for you. So one of my favorite ones is life is fair. Everybody's price is just different. You know what I mean? So to get to this, to somebody else to compete with you, somebody that maybe live in Vegas right next to those places, they got a lot better. Your price to train was way different than theirs.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So at Life's Fair, everybody's price is just different. And then check this out. I've got to remember her name. I heard a keynote speaker. It's blessings follow obedience. But anyways, let me do a quick little search here. It's about the word impact because you are an impact maker. All right. So this is what she said. Her mission is to explain to people that they are going to activate their impact. But she said the definition of impact is when you live out your God-given gifts in the marketplace. That's when you make an impact. And I love that. And dude, you are doing that.
Thank you. There's a good definition, right? So we don't like humble, but impact, that's a good one. Man.
That's right.
The Hitstreak is powered by Rack Financial. When it comes to your credit card merchant processing, Rack Financial is efficient, reliable, and trusted. At the end of the day, when it comes to processing your credit card payments, They make it simple, the way it's supposed to be. Check out Rack Financial.
But dude, congratulations on everything, man. You're a breath of fresh air. You're what all of us need right now, that you can go get it and we can do anything you want, man. So
Yes,
congratulations, brother.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Folks, we've been hanging with four-time now American Ninja Warrior and entrepreneur, Elijah the Boss Browning, right? So check him out on YouTube at Elijah the Boss, on Instagram at Elijah the Boss Ninja, and for all the merch, ElijahTheBossNinja.com. And campers, come join him this summer. Call or text Miss Renee Browning at 615-977-8303, right?
Perfect. Thank
Boom.
you so much.
Well, folks, thanks so much for tuning into another episode of The Hit Streak. I am Nick Hyder. God bless.